Hello, everyone, and welcome to Taking Over. I am, of course, OLED Ed Fries, back from a 1 week vacation where I wasn't feeling very well. Joined, as always, by the host of our show, the hostess with the mostest, very expensive Hollywood Ashton. How you doing, Ashton? We were able to meet your weekly paycheck this week, so you're here.
Yeah, the check clear. We should be good to go for one more week.
All right, for one more week.
Mhm.
I've noticed in trying to help get all things ready for Evolution next month, I've noticed that my job things are starting to go up, and the rest of some of the people in the back end are starting to take a break. And I'm like, hold on, I'm an ideas guy. An ideas
Right.
guy. Hollywood Ash is
Yes. You're the second one to send me one SCG, so apparently they're in Canada.
oh, my lawyers have told you to stop using the SEMO people. Talk to our local establishment. Now you apply. No. I don't do the application. I do the ideas. Everybody else does the application. I'd more than gladly talk about the back end of our local establishment for the next hour and a half, but unfortunately, we're supposed to talk about NXT tonight, which I'll say was a little ho hum for me tonight. It was good matches, but very predictable. Nothing really happened tonight that made me go, "Huh, that's a surprise." Nothing.
I think the only one I don't want to call it a surprise though. Uh, I'm trying to find a good word for it, but I would say something that was different was definitely that ending with Jada and Thea. Not the outcome, but like the way it happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a tried and true method of ending a professional wrestling match. I like it. It's something we haven't seen very often in NXT,
Mm.
so it's good. But overall, it just felt like we knew where we were going, and this show just kind of kept us on the same track with
Mm-hmm.
where we were going and what we were doing. We can start with the opening match, which was Jaida Parker defeating Thea Hale after she tapped out, but it was hidden from the referee because the referee was out of position. We should also make clear that it wasn't a referee's mistake. The referee
Mm-hmm.
was purposely out of position so that this could be the finish of the match. Because Thea lets go because she feels the tap, and then nothing happens, and she gets hit with hypnotic. And as always with Jaida Parker wrestling matches, we need to go ahead and throw this up here, especially during Pride Month. Fuck Jaida Parker and all of the things that she thinks. But no, the match is really good. I really enjoyed a lot of this match. Thea Hale still has, and I will continue to say it, the worst looking Kimura in the world. However, the way that she kept applying it and the way Jaida would keep getting out of it, keep going, and I thought that was a really interesting back and forth. Thea attacking pre-match, I thought was really interesting and different. Um, I liked a lot of what this match did, but at the end of the day, Jaida Parker wins, which is kind of what I expected because we
Mm-hmm.
need two heels and two baby faces for the match next week. And we got two heels and two baby faces. Oh my!
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, aside from the result being predictable in that aspect, I enjoyed it because I liked the fact that Thea was using a lot of her speed here, and Jada was using that power that she has and her size to her advantage in so many aspects of it. So in that sense of it, I really liked the back and forth they had between these two. I did like the way they ended it because it made it something different. It's something that they could even come up with like even next week and say something about it of how they plan to like I don't want to call it fix it, but like how they plan to like solve this. And I thought it was like you said something interesting, something that doesn't happen often in NXT when you get those kind of finishes that are a little bit like ordinary for us when they do occur. So I like that they did it that way just because I feel like one thing that I enjoyed about these one-on-one matches tonight is that they all ended differently. No one of them follow like a copy pasting. And it's something we said about NXT that no matter when they have these type of matches, like let's say for the Iron Survivor, that they have 2 Iron Survivor matches, when they have multiple matches that are the same, they don't do like a copy pasting. You can see how they make them all look so differently, and they really make an effort to make them stand out in each way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this was a really fun match. And again, don't take my blasé attitude as that I didn't enjoy the wrestling. I actually enjoyed almost all the wrestling on this show, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, nothing moved me, shall I say, tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really moved me much tonight. We go backstage with Briggs and Inamura and Elijah, shit talking first class, shit talking Trick Williams, and then Hank and Tank come for reasons, and then Oba comes by. By the way, they also dropped this random thing. Hank Tank gave Briggs and Inamura a tag team title match
Mm-hmm.
in this promo that was completely forgotten the rest of the show. It never once got mentioned the entire rest of the show. But apparently Briggs and Navarro are the number one contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships. I'm going to guess that's a Great American Bash show, and we'll have more news about that soon. They shit talk Hank Tank. Oba comes in. Oba congratulates Hank and Tank on being the Tag Team Champions. They congratulate him on a great match last week, which it was. I really liked the Jasper Troy versus Oba Femi match.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a really interesting way to do it. I love the fact that they actually, honestly, accidentally broke the ring. And you can tell they accidentally broke the ring because they were putting it back together.
Mm-hmm.
If this were a planned spot where they broke the ring, they wouldn't have tried to put it back together.
Yeah,
Trick comes up. Oba says, "Hey, champ." Trick says, "Hey, champ." They go their separate ways. Trick says, "Briggs, you're wearing too much leather." Trick does not get to talk about people's fashion choices. Just like Seth. Seth doesn't get to talk about people's fashion choices. Seth is the worst dressed person in all of the world. He is.
Disagree.
When
Big
he's
time.
rating Becky Lynch's closet for costume ideas, that's a problem.
Mm-mm.
Sorry. Seth
No.
Rollins is
Good
the
job,
worst.
Troy.
No. But no, I mean, like this was a really kind of pointless thing. Like it did a lot of things, but it felt like it did nothing.
I think the only thing I would have done differently here, this part with Hank and Tank, I would have put it somewhere after the match somehow. Because then with the result of the match, then they would have been like, oh, we're gonna give you guys, and you guys are not working contenders, we're gonna give you a future title shot. But being that the timing of this, having this before the match, makes it seem that they just handed it to them for no reason.
Mhm.
And I feel
Yeah.
like the timing, I feel like that would have changed the timing of this and reversed it somehow, just to make it fit a little bit better. Just because it just feels like, I don't know, would be like, you guys, you can have a title shot. That's it. We just gave it to you for no reason whatsoever. But the result of the match could have been the reason why they gave it to them in the first place, but it happened afterwards.
And by the way, didn't Inamura and Briggs lose the match to the Culling last week? Or am I
I think
misremembering
so.
that? I'm almost sure the Culling won that match, didn't they?
I thought they did.
I was going to say, I thought they did, which is, again,
Yeah, they did.
surprising.
Yeah.
So it's like, you lost the match, but yet you get the title. I'm like,
Yep.
none of this feels right. And Oba Femi's there, and it just doesn't feel right either. And
Yeah.
Oba's like, Jasper Troy is like the most hard-hitting person I've ever been in the ring with. And you just see Briggs looking through Oba Femi with daggers of anger, like, excuse you, good sir? Do you not remember last year when me, you, and Dijak had a great wrestling match at Stand and Deliver?
Yeah.
Seth's wardrobe is much better than listening to him cut a promo. I vastly disagree. I think Seth Rollins is one of the better promos in WWE.
What kind of people do I work versus fashion and then the promo?
I've never been on the Seth train for anything. His promos annoy me, and I hate his outfits. STG is indeed me and Bobby's love child.
Oh my god, this is hurting
All
me.
Right. I wasn't ignoring this, Logan, but I will put it up now just because you keep bringing it up. He could have, but there's no reason to do that. This is very telling because this is, again, the story that they're telling with Inamura. When Inamura came back and they did that first promo backstage, Inamura continued to say things that he wants to do bigger things. He's here for his friend, but he wants to do bigger things. It was always going to be Yoshiki Inamura versus Obafemi at some point in a title match. And it's going to be a match I'm going to enjoy. Like, let's be honest. I'm going to have a hard time. You know that after match where Axiom and Nathan Frazier had to fight each other? And Axiom had to watch the match like this? That's going to how I'm going to have to watch Yoshiki Inamura take on Obafemi. I think it's a really good idea and an interesting idea to go ahead and use Inamura to give the title match to Briggs. Trick can continue to say Briggs has done nothing to earn this. Briggs can be a nice one-off opponent. Because remember, this isn't even a title that Shawn Michaels gets to book. This is a title that TNA is booking. And TNA is apparently asked to use Briggs in a match for the TNA Championship. It's not Shawn Michaels booking here. The Shawn Michaels portion of this booking is trying to book Yoshiki Inamura versus Obafemi. I mean, no, but at the same time, I don't think I ever would have booked myself into a quarter where I had to book my big special boys against each other. Like, I wouldn't have done that. That's no. But I mean, ironically, the one thing that was good throughout the entirety of the episode, with the exception of this one backstage segment, was the booking of the show. The booking of this show was predictable but really good throughout the entirety of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of predictable but good, Kelani Jordynne is defeated by Lash Legend. This was great. I loved everything about this. Lash Legend did really good work in this match. Her and Kelani have really good chemistry, with the exception of that first spot where, for some reason, Kelani kept hitting Lash's thigh before she did the Rolling Thunder, where she literally stopped, bumped Lash's thigh like 3 times with her hand, and then did it. But most of this match, really good and interesting. Lash Legend, besides the new shitty music, is a really good singles competitor. Mm-hmm. She's ready for this next level. She's going to come out of that match next week with the opportunity at Evolution, and it's going to be JC Jane versus Lash Legend at Evolution.
I don't know. It's still tough for me. I can't pick anybody yet. But yeah, like you said, it's just the match itself was predictable in the end here. This is the reason why Metaphor disbanded the way it did, just because they were going to give this push to Lash. So it makes sense that even her winning during this.
Well, and they were firing everybody else besides Noah.
I know, but still, it's like that's one of the reasons why they broke up the group to begin with. But I like the chemistry they had with each other here. I like the fact that when Kelani goes for that split like moonsault, like Lash comes in, takes her down the way she did, that, and then even at one point they're in the top rope and Kelani reversed what Lash was planning to do as well. So they have really good chemistry, and again, this is one of those like it predictable in that aspect of it. I do hope. My thing was the reason I don't want to say the only reason, but one of the reasons why I thought maybe Lash wasn't going to win the Fatal 4-Way is because I think they might do Lash and Kalani somehow, because this can be the only match we're going to get with both of them after what's happened the last couple of weeks between them. So I expect that to last a little bit more there. And that's probably my reason why I don't think Lash will be winning it. I think that they'll have a mini like non-title feud here with everything going on. But again, fun match. I like the how well they work with each other.
So here's the thing. I think Lash is the perfect opponent because of the fact that we're building to JC Jane versus Blake Monroe. That should be the Evolution match. Let's be honest. The timing of Blake signing with NXT is so poor for this Evolution card. Because had they known ahead of time that they had Blake Monroe ready to go, I think Blake would be in that match. Because not only was I fantasy booking Blake Monroe taking out somebody in these matches tonight to take a spot, Ella Jay was doing the exact same thing. And I guarantee you, we're not the only two who are thinking it's obviously going to be Ed being distraught with his fantasy booking being wrong. I get it. I would have started the show with Blake Monroe, and then I would have ended the show with whatever match was going to be last. In my mind, it would have been Zaria versus Izzi. And Izzi doesn't come out when her music plays, and we pan back to find Izzi beaten down. We find the Culling beaten down. You can blame it on Briggs, on Jensen, which I think would be great. Jensen takes out both Niko and Sean Spears. And then you have Blake Monroe standing over the top of Izzi Day and being like, I'll take this. I've earned this. And have her walk out there. And have her defeat Zaria. So that she can have that match. Because we end the show with booking Blake Monroe versus JCJ. But we have this massive roadblock of the biggest women's pay-per-view for WWE in the last 5 years. Because Evolution is what, 2019?
18. So I think it's been 7.
So 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this Evolution should be the biggest of the biggest you can do. NXT's biggest of the biggest. Well, in theory, should have been Stephanie Vaquer versus Jordynne Grace. Let's be honest. Then when that was a no-go, it should have been Blake Monroe versus whoever the champion is. So, it's fine. I'm not too upset.
The other thing for me, though, if taking Blake Monroe out of the equation, my mind would have been like more of JC and Fallon, just because Fallon is being that kind of person of JC being the champion now after all the shit and thrown at each other. But Fallon is still looking at that championship when they're together next to each other. So it's like, to me, that would have been the Evolution match of like somehow breaking them up for Fallon to take the title away from JC at the same time. But then with Blake being there now, I was like, I feel like now that kind of takes things a little bit of the road somehow. But I feel like that would have been the match I would have liked to see, whether it was Evolution or maybe a little bit down the line of when you think in your mind like this is the end of JC's reign, then have Fallon take the title from her. And Fallon be like, you're always kind of rubbing in my face that I basically have been losing this whole time, but when it counted the most, I took the title from you.
Yeah, I mean, Will brings up a good point. I bet they do that match at the Great American Bash. I don't think JC wrestles twice that weekend. Like, you got to remember, all of those matches are that weekend. I don't think you're running JC Jane in 2 championship matches. And you're certainly not running Blake Monroe versus whoever wins this Fatal 4-Way next week with no build to any of it. So it's obviously JC versus somebody. Again, I think JC should have already lost the championship, to be honest. But that's just me. I don't know. When they did the JC thing, I thought it, like Bobby thought, that it might be a transitional champion. Stephanie's leaving. We'll give the title to Jordynne. We'll transition. Then she cut that promo the next night, the next week when she did it. And I'm like, oh, maybe they're planning on doing a long-term JC Jane reign. That would be good. You know, she's earned it. This could be interesting. And then Blake Monroe shows up in the same segment. And I'm like, well, shit. This way is going as long as they want to wait until they give the title to Mariah May. Blake Monroe. We're just waiting long enough to give her the championship. And it's like, now you're stuck in that Pandora's box of, we know Blake Monroe is winning the title. We just don't know when.
Mm-hmm.
Evolution's the biggest show you've got. She needs to be on that show. Do we do a triple threat? Like, the only thing I can think of to get out of that is Jordynne wins the Fatal 4-Way next week to get a shot at Jacy Jayne. Blake Monroe comes out and is like, by the way, y'all attacked me before I could tell anything. In my contract, it guaranteed that my first match is a women's championship match against Jacy Jayne. Now Evolution's a triple threat.
Yeah.
It also depends on whether or not they want Blake to be a babyface or a heel. We still really haven't seen. Look, it looks like we're going to be booking her as a babyface. With a name like the Glamour that won't last long. Like, it won't last long booking her as a babyface.
You know, that's something that if being even though the name is different, this is still the Mariah May template. The character's the same. So she's still a heel.
This is the same template of character that we've had from Tiffany Stratton. From what Cora Jade was trying to do, but she couldn't do well when she was trying to be Mean Girl. Blake Monroe's character should essentially be Mean Girls. She should be the Regina George of NXT. And me and Ashley could honestly do an hour show just on the Blake Monroe and how to fantasy book Blake Monroe going forward. And maybe that's something we do in the near future because that could be fun. And if we don't do it, I might do it.
We do it, but we don't tell each other until we're on live on the show.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. We have the D'Angelo family recap, which was much necessary because I'm sure people forgot what the fuck we were talking about. They did have Stephanie McCare work 3 matches in 24. Yes, but remember, there's a big difference between Stephanie McCare and Jacy Jayne.
The caliber, we mean.
I mean, there are vast differences in every category when you talk about Stephanie McCare and Jacy Jayne. Like, Stephanie McCare can do 3 matches in 24 hours. I'm not sure Jacy Jayne can do 3 matches in 24 hours. There's a difference in wrestling level. There's a difference in attitude. There's a difference in... Also, remember... I'm sorry, you're right. On top of that, also remember, Stephanie worked about 1 3/4 matches because she didn't wrestle a ton in the 6-woman tag on SmackDown. She barely wrestled in the tag on Worlds Collide. So, she didn't wrestle all 3 of those matches. She took a great majority of some of that off. But no, there's a vast difference when we talk about the talent level of Jacy Jayne versus Stephanie McCare and how many matches they can work. Oh, the D'Angelo family.
What about this? Wait.
Not this D'Angelo family, but the destruction of the real D'Angelo family. Yes, I still have the graphic because I can hold on to it for just a little bit longer.
The one thing I was surprised about is I hadn't realized with the timeline that it's been 2 months since they had their first match.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like it.
Oh, no, it feels like it's been 8 months.
It feels like it was longer than when I looked in the recap, it was at 2 months and I went, but it was more than that based on how this is going because it feels so slow compared to everything else.
Yep. Tony calls out Luca. Luca tries to get Tony to trust him. Honestly, Luca. I couldn't even fucking bother to write down notes for what they were saying. Tony's giving Luca reasons why he doesn't trust him. Luca's got reasons for Tony to trust him. It's real standard copy-paste bullshit. Out comes Stacks with his own family of jabronis who all look like performance center talent that I've never seen before. They're not Evolve talent. I know that for sure. They're not ID talent. Stack tries to, dig the things in by being like, Luca, look, Tony doesn't trust you. I always trusted you. He doesn't think you can be his consigliere. You can be my consigliere. They get into a fight. Luca defends Tony, sort of, after the fact. And then he tries to He tries to hit Stacks and hits Tony. And this was well booked, but they literally were just like, just fucking do whatever you want. We don't care.
And I feel like not only that, because I'm still missing that piece of Stacks and Tony having that physicality there. Because we saw a little bit here, but it was very short lived at the same time. So it's like, why? It's just maybe it could be.
Probably.
But,
I mean, I didn't watch season 1 of LFG. I'm probably not going to watch season 2 either.
but it's one of those things like I feel like this feud for being something that has been brewing for a while because of the family being there for so long, it just feels like it's missing something. And I think the absence of Stacks being on and off TV, not being consistently booked either. We still don't have Rizzo on TV either. So it's like I feel like there's so many bits and pieces that they could have done better with the timing here that have affected the storyline, because it's not one of those like even though we already predicted it was going to happen, at the same time we were kind of like disappointed by like the aftermath of the whole D'Angelo family and how everything went down.
Yeah, it's this could have been a really great feud, and it's been fucking awful. And it's funny because all of these guys are relatively good. Like, Tony's great. I've remember the days where I said Tony D'Angelo, this bullshit gimmick will never get over? Yeah, I was wrong about that. Stacks is good. Stacks can cut a promo. He was good tonight. But tonight was about rubbing it in and getting Luca to turn more than it was about Stacks being mad at Tony. Like, it just fucking sucks. Like, this whole feud just sucks, and I want it to be done and over with. Just let everybody turn next time they fight and call it a day. And end this feud and send Tony to fucking SmackDown or Evolve or anywhere but here, because we need to get them two separated. Because if they don't, they're going to continue fucking telling this story over the next 8 months, and I'm going to hate it. Hey, Joe's here. Hello, Joe. Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. But before we go on with the rest of this show, we want to tell you what you can see the rest of this week on our local establishment. We'll be back in just a minute. Here's the calendar.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Things are calling that I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming, for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Now that I need you, why?
And for those that missed our interview with Javier Bernal, he does approve of the theme song and he likes On Lap. So make sure, if you haven't seen that, go ahead and give the interview a look. It is in the playlist here on our local establishment. Me and Asher had a lot of fun talking to Core Kid Javi, formerly known as Javier Bernal, Big Body Javi. It was a great time. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. But thank you all for joining us tonight. We go backstage again where Casey Navarro, First Class, says that he can't wrestle. Which I'm like, no, that's Top Dollar next to you. He's the one who can't wrestle. But either way, Trick is very upset, being like, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? They're like, don't worry. This is First Class. And apparently First Class doesn't bring problems. They apparently bring solutions. I don't know if this is a catchphrase or something that they do on TNA, but it sucks. However, their fill-in for Casey Navarro is indeed Wesley of the High Rise, which was interesting. And I like how Wesley's like, look, Trick, I know you and I, we got some issues. We got some problems. And he's like, you know what? I'm sorry for all the things I did to you, Wes. I apologize. It's me. I was tricking out. I apologize. They become friends again. They all hug because heels will be heels. And I'm like, great. There'll be as many people on the outside of the ring as there are on the inside of the ring for the first class out. So that's not going to be problematic at all during that wrestling match. Why does this want to start another ad? I just played an ad on Twitch. Fuck you, Twitch. Sorry. Back in during the calendar, I ran a Twitch ad, which is supposedly, I thought, going to stop the ads from rolling for a while. Twitch is like, no, we need to run another minute ad. I'm like, but I just ran ads. Speaking
But if you
of
sub, you don't
things
get any ads.
Yes, if you do sub, you won't get any ads, and we would appreciate that. Those of you on the YouTube side, like the video, subscribe. Okay. After, because I've been talking a lot about things first, I want you to talk about this Chase U segment before I go ahead and tear it to shreds.
I want to say, though, I was really bummed because I really wanted to see Casey Navarro in NXT somehow. Why?
We will at some point.
I
Like,
know,
is he
but still.
Hasn't he been wrestling in TNA?
That's what I thought. That's what I thought was strange. I definitely have to look back at the timeline of when the tapings happened. But yeah, I thought it was pretty weird. But anyway. So this was, I don't even know what to call it. Because I don't want to call it strange. That's the word I can think of. Because what the heck was this? I have no idea what this segment was supposed to be. Because
Train wreck?
Because it's that reintroduction of Chase U. They're back, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm introducing Uriah Cottis and Kill Dixon," and the kid just asks too many questions, and he leaves because Andre doesn't want to answer the questions. It doesn't want him. He doesn't want to even like have him ask the questions to begin with. And I just went, "What was the point of that?" Because I don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah. So they introduced him as the new Chase U, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I still don't like Kale Dixon, but it's fine. I can get over it. It's no big deal. He has a shitty name, and I barely ever remember it, but fine. And then Andre's trying to give the pep talk. And Kale's looking through some book. And he tries to ask questions, and Andre's like, just wait, I'll get to you in a minute. And he keeps putting his hands up to ask a question. And Andre goes off at him, and he's like, look, Chase U doesn't adapt to you. You adapt to Chase U. And Kale's like, fine, I had my feelings hurt. I'm a Gen millennial, whatever the fuck that shitty generation is that Kale Dixon's a part of. That's not my generation. And packs up his book bag and just walks the fuck out of class. And Uriah Connors is just like looking around, and he says something to Andre Chase, and I had given up on this segment at that point. I was like, I don't even fucking care what you said. Like, what the fuck are they doing? Like,
I don't know.
No, I am not a millennial. I am a zillennial. I am halfway to Gen Z and a millennial. I am a zillennial. I am a micro generation. I do not identify with those shitty millennials. Do not lump me with them. No, I am not, Bobby. And yeah, I saw that you foresaw that I would say that because you typed it before I even said it. No, I am not that shitty generation. I am not. I refuse. I am a zillennial. I am born in 84. I had computers after I was in middle school, not before. Hulk Vance is funny, which is great. I love Joe. Joe's great. We love having Joe here. God, this segment sucked. Speaking of segments that sucked, we then had Ethan Page and his children, otherwise known as the Vanity Project. Jackson Drake, the Evolve champion, the men's Evolve champion, and Swipe Right. They are indeed Ethan's children. They're still here with Ethan Page, which is interesting. Because I can explain this. Because they are exactly the kind of people that Ethan Page would want to hang out with.
I know, but I don't want to see them with Ethan. No.
Because these are exactly the kind of people that Ethan will teach the ropes to. Like, on an indie show, this is the exact group of people that would all get along together. Not because Ethan Page is like these young douchebags, but because Ethan Page is an older douchebag who is all about himself, and so are they. And he'd find the kindred spirit between them all.
I don't freaking care about them. I don't want to see them on screen with Ethan. I really don't.
Ricky Saints comes in, and I think he says that he's coming for Ethan Page next week. I can't tell because he still can't talk, which is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
The Vanity Project, more importantly, Jackson Drake and Ricky Smokes, tell him, if you want to get to Ethan, you have to go through me and the Vanity Project. And then for some reason, Ashanti the Adonis starts talking.
Oh
And
my god, that made it even worse.
And then honestly, it made me think, fuck, if Ashanti the Adonis is here, why wasn't he the tag team partner from First Class? Because of him and Top Dollar. Like, why wasn't he the fill-in? Because that would make more sense. I don't want to see Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page again. I do want to see Ricky Saints versus Ricky Smokes. I do want to see Ricky Saints versus Jackson Drake. I think there's a lot of good to have in that. I also feel like it's a bit of a waste of Ricky Saints. But bringing up young talent is a good thing. You can continue to give these kids matches against these really good, talented people and show them off. And maybe this will make people watch Evolve. It won't. But WWE will continue to try to make people watch Evolve. If nothing else, when they eventually sign real WWE contracts, because the WWE ID contracts are not real WWE contracts, they're going to be able to know who these people are, and that's a good thing for the Vanity Project. While she may not like them, it's good for them that we're going to know who they are, and that people like Ashford are going to hate them. Because you need to swipe right on swipe right.
No, all I
Hashtag.
want is Zeta Steel. Where's Zeta? Give me Zeta. That's all I'm asking for.
Zeta will be on Evolve tomorrow night.
No, I
When
want to
she-
see Zeta on
when she-
NXT.
when she tags with Nikita Lyons to take on Natalia and Kali Armstrong.
You know I don't curse, so I'll say F that. I don't want to see her with Nikita. I want to see her in NXT by herself. Shine a spotlight on Zeta Steel. Please, for the love of God, please.
By the way, for people who don't know, Zeta Steel is one of Ashford's early interviews during Ashford Asks. It's an incredible interview. You need to watch it. Also, Zeta Steel is part of the Vanity Project, and WWE
no.
refuses to tell you that. For some odd reason,
Get
refuse.
this woman on NXT, please, please.
WWE gives and WWE takes away.
Ah,
Huh.
just give me that lady in NXT. That's what I'm asking for. But don't bring her and have her lose on top of it, please. I don't want that. Because you have her lose too much. That's another thing. I hate that.
Oh yeah, she's not racking up wins in any way, shape, or form.
No, I
in the
see
WWE
the
project.
clips. I'm tired of that crap too. I was like, bring her in and give her one win that nobody expects, not even me. Please. I'm begging at this point.
To continue the role of segments that didn't make much sense and weren't great, Tavion Heights, Ren Sinclair, and Javon Evans are asking, so no,
Yes.
they're not doing Zeta
Yes.
dirty.
Yes,
No.
they are.
No,
Yes.
they are putting great care into making sure that Zeta Steel is on your television often on Evolve. However, she's not winning much while doing it.
Exactly.
No, Bubby, stop! Fuck you, Elder Lord. You know what? Can I kick you out of this chat? Hold on. Can I mod?
You
Can I mod you out of
can't kick him out.
it?
That's like telling the boss that he's out of the building. That doesn't work out.
I mean, I can try.
Okay.
No, they're
so
not.
this part.
Yeah,
this part I was
Tavion
also
Heights, Ren
confused.
Sinclair. Yeah.
So I was really confused about this because it just gave me not this segment per se, but But the way this is, I don't know what I call it. It's like the way this is happening on screen first with Miles and now with Tavia, it just reminds me a lot of the metaphor, and I don't like the vibes it's giving me. I really don't. Because it's
What?
like, what is it?
Why are we breaking this group up?
Thank you. I was like, who asked for this, first of all? Because none of us did. That's the first thing. I don't get it. It's like, and then why are we gonna have? I understand because it's a Charles thing to have the person have the match so they can leave, right? But why are we doing this of like breaking them up this way to begin with? I just don't understand. It reminds me of what happened with Metaphor, like in backstage before the other two got released. I don't like the vibe this is giving me. Like, what's the point of doing this? Because I don't get it. I really don't.
In my in WWE's defense, and there's not much we can defend them on with this. At least they're doing this one on television. They're telling us a story with this one, but it's a shitty story. It's a shitty story.
What's the point? It's just like, if the group is doing well and people like the group, what would you have them break up? It just, that's something that I don't understand. When something is going really well, they want to like end it somehow, and it's like, why? It's going well. If it wasn't going well, I would get why you want to cut it out. But what's the point with this group? Like, they could have had Miles still within the group while getting a spotlight on himself for himself. You don't have to kick him out of the group for that.
By the way, Miles is still nowhere to be seen. And why is Tavion taking on Javon to still be in the group?
No, it's like if he wins, then he gets out of the group. Why?
Yeah. But why? Why is that Javon Evans the one to do that? Like, I get it's to sow dissension between Tavion and Javon. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. And Charles is probably going to help Javon Evans win, so that this will continue to do a thing. But it's just weird and dumb, and I didn't like it. But it's good booking. It just doesn't make sense as to why we're breaking up this group. Remember, we still have Dark State that's doing nothing in their group, and we have no group to defeat Dark State now.
No.
None. Jay Shoe seems like they're on the way out. There's no more fucking Candy Crew. Like, who's gonna step up to Dark State?
I think another thing that would have been different with Dark State, I would have had people that are, I don't want to call them NXT originals, but people that really would defend NXT because it's been their platform against Dark State, because Dark State was a takeover NXT. Like, that kind of storyline I would have done in that sort of way, almost like a Survivor Series type of match in the end. Of like, yeah, NXT is like my home. NXT helped me grow, so I'm gonna fight for NXT against Dark State, and have, even if you have 4 singles competitors go against Dark State or a whole group, something to get people to defend NXT because of what Dark State is doing, and still nothing's happening there. What's the point?
Yeah, there's nothing going on between the people in Dark State, which is sad, because Dark State could have been good.
And that's when you notice Shawn Michaels books the woman better than he does with the guys, to be honest.
Yeah, he really does book the women so much better than the guys.
We can tell now with thanks to Jordan's tweets.
No, shut up, Bobby. That is a bannable offense, and I can't ban you, but that's a bannable offense. For those that don't know what, no, you know what? I won't have you go watch WCW in the early 2000s. The Warrior went to take on Hulk Hogan during the height of the NWO, and so to take on the NWO, he became the One Warrior Nation, which is the NWO backwards, because WCW 2000.
Sure.
Hi. Hi, Millie. Hope Allison's stream is going well. Thank you for lurking. We greatly appreciate it. We then got the match between Inamura, Elijah, and Briggs, taking on and defeating Wesley, Trick Williams, and Flop Dollar. This was a clusterfuck. It was good. I liked a lot of what happened here. My favorite part of this match, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, was the fake out from Flop Dollar when he went to go and do the dive onto the people on the outside and stopped and laughed at the crowd. I bought it. I thought that was great. That's my favorite part of this match. There's a problem. if that's the favorite part of this match for you, it doesn't say much about the rest of this match. Yoshiki Inamura pins Trick Williams, the TNA champion. You know, you had a perfectly good yes, flop dollar. It is absolutely, it's not top dollar. It's not AJ Francis. And trust me, he's going to somehow find this and come after me on Twitter for it. And that's fine. Bigger men than him have come after me before. It's fine. However, he is indeed flop dollar. No, Yoshiki, you had a perfectly good Wesley to pin there, and for some reason you pinned Trick. I don't know why we're pinning Trick. We shouldn't be pinning Trick. Trick should be winning matches. He didn't need to win this, but he sure as hell did not need to be pinned in this. Because as much as a Josh Briggs fan as I am, and as much as a Yoshiki Inamura fan as I am, I don't need to see either of them take on Trick Williams. I need to see Trick taking on TNA talent. It needs to be Kazarian. It needs to be, Elijah again. It needs to be Joe Hendry coming back from Mexico and trying to get that title back. I think you should run Trick Williams versus Moose because that's so TNA of TNA to do. I also think if it's not going to be Mike Santana to take that title off of Trick Williams, it should be AJ Styles. I think if you put AJ Styles in the TNA Hall of Fame Slammiversary, what do you mean no
Thank
Moose? Moose.
And it looks like I'm gonna need a new tag partner for next time. I wish you guys could see it though. Oh my god. Yes, Joe, he's stuck with that name for life. Remember, we can't hear you.
Bobby here with all the bad takes tonight. I mean, I don't like Moose either, but there's nothing more TNA than TNA running Moose versus somebody who's actually popular. That's why I suggested that match, because there's nothing more TNA than that. Tell me I'm wrong.
No. He's gonna play the clip now.
I've got a clip.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
I mean, you can't tell me where the lie is. It's fine.
Oh, you gotta play my favorite clip. If you're gonna play that one at least.
Oh, I don't like this one.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
Why not? I love the father-daughter dynamic.
Would you rather this one? Sorry, his outfit is too rad. We can't play that clip. I'm apologize. Thoughts on the six-man tag?
Yeah, to me the thing I would have done with this one is if you're gonna have Labdala here in West, have one of them get pinned. There's a reason why you have two other people aside from the champion that you could have had options to get pinned in here. Because if it was a one-on-one, I would understand if that happened. But if you have multiple people here, why is Trick getting pinned of all people? I don't get it. Especially from Inamura. It's like you have Inamura and Briggs focusing on being a tag team, getting a title shot from Hank and Tank earlier in the show, mind you. So why'd you have him get pinned, making them go towards the singles championship when they just got a tag team one? It's like, pick a lane, sweetheart, because there's two. You're going for two at the same time here.
And I'm
not a fan.
And I like the idea of Inamura getting bigger things. Like he's like, think bigger, and he's like, I want the, there's a segment later where he's like, look, you can have the TNA title match. I want a match against Obafemi. And I'm like, that makes sense. Like ever since he's come back, he's been like, I'm here for you, Briggs, but I want to think bigger. And it's like, they're not thinking about the tag team titles. Inamura is thinking about a singles run, which is fine. I don't mind breaking these two up positively, being like, look, we're going to go on our own little singles journeys and still be friends. Like, that makes a bunch of sense. We had Zaruka talking backstage about their TikToks and their Instagrams and their Facebooks and whatever the fuck else they post. And Tatum tries to come up behind them, and I messaged Millie and I said, oh, look, Tatum's going to feel ignored and cost Zaria the match. We moved to the match where Izzy Dave beats Zaria because Tatum squeezed Soul and she yelled, so Zaria got distracted and she lost to Izzy Dave. Look, I'm right. But no, I thought the match was great. I thought this was Izzy Dame's best match by leaps and bounds.
Right?
The one thing the culling has done is it has made Izzy feel like a threat. Izzy feels like a complete character now. Also, she's not wearing green.
Wait, you forgot to play something for you.
I'm right! I'm right! I'm in the right!
But I was gonna say the same thing, but watching her in this match with Zaria though, I just kept thinking Izzy has grown so much from that girl that we just paired up with Kiana and doing this and wearing green all the time so we can know who she was. Through the way she was here. She was moving like such a powerhouse with her big boots and the way like she was hitting those power moves that I was just like, where has this girl been this whole time? Because she was doing amazing in this match. I was so surprised, and they have really really good chemistry here too. I kept thinking this is one of Izzy's best matches that I've seen so far. And it showed me how much she has grown because in my mind I just kept thinking, how did you go from the girl that was teaming up with Kiana to where you are now? Like, that's a lot of growth.
Yeah, no, I thought Izzy was sensational here. The chemistry between the two of them was really good. We've talked a lot about Zaria and the issues with chemistry that she's had with some people. She had fantastic chemistry with Izzy tonight. This match was perfect. Not perfect as in like it was a great match, as it was a perfect matchup of two people. The power on both sides really did. Yeah, I thought that was funny. He's got wrong takes all night, but that's kind of funny. No, I really thought this was great. And including Tatum in it, and we get a Tatum section later where she's trying to explain herself, and Zaria's like, no, I don't want to hear it. And then Izzy comes through and she's like, look, I told you they're not your friends. They don't care about you. And Tatum goes off towards Izzy, and Zaria stops Soul. She's like, oh, let her go. It's fine. It's also nice that I sent Millie the picture of the Zaruka shirt, which they now have merch. It's a half and half face shirt of Zaria and Soul Ruka. And she goes, great. They're giving the merch right before they break them up. And I'm like, yep, get it while you can.
Get it while you can. Wait, you can get it from here when you can. There you go.
With using WWE Shop affiliate link from Astrid to go ahead and throw a couple bucks into the Astrid Hollywood Fund so that maybe Astrid will be here to work Great American Bash with me. Maybe she might even show up for Evolution.
Evolution has been booked, sir.
What's that?
Evolution has been booked, sir.
I've done nothing.
Just waiting for the check to clear.
Oh, you've been booked for Evolution. I was like, I gave you a list of names and I've heard nothing of these names. So, like, I don't know what we're talking about. But no, Evolution is going to be an our local establishment all women's show. So that's going to be fun. We're very excited for that. We'll obviously have me and Mark doing Saturday night's main event because we're not going to be able to keep Mark off of too many things. I mean, yes, but not with the hissy fit that both of you were throwing yesterday in the Discord about not wanting me to do it.
It wasn't a hissy fit.
People didn't like the use of the word we. Like, I'll give you the real tea here. People didn't like the use of the word we.
Yeah, is that French oui? Is that what it is?
Because I said we should start talking about booking Evolution. I did no such thing. I just made a valuable suggestion, and so did Astrid. Yes, The valuable suggestion was Ed should start reaching out to these people. And I go, do you really want Ed being the face of what we're trying to book for this show? Hi, Bobby Stats. Thank you for joining us.
Anyway, because Ashley takes care of things, unlike Ed, it's gonna be myself and Mel covering Evolution.
Oh, okay. That was not the names I gave you, but that's fine.
Oh.
We had Tony D'Angelo going into Ava's office trying to get Luca a match versus Stax, but apparently Stax is taking on the checks notes, the Heritage Cup champion.
Once I heard this, no lie, I was just thinking, when are we gonna put Noam Dar's face on a Milton carton? Because he's been nowhere to be found since he won that championship. And then
Yeah.
they just mentioned him.
Yep, they're like, oh, Noam Dar's defending the Heritage Cup.
And I went, it's been how long? Like 2 months.
I was dumbfounded that this match got made. I was like, oh. And I'm like, why is Stax wrestling for the Heritage Cup? Like,
And see, when did Noam Dar even win this?
oh my God, I just thought of something. If Noam Dar brings back the old Heritage Cup rules and Tony D'Angelo tries to take out Stax, Noam Dar will get disqualified and Stax will become the new Heritage Cup champion. That's a scary thought. Lola Vice came out to the ring, and we have footage of Thea Hale when that happened.
Regan said she's very afraid of heights. She's scared.
I looked it up. He won the title April 18th.
Yeah. It's
Has
almost
defended this amount of times ever since.
Yeah, it's almost 2 months. Yeah.
They remembered.
3 hats in the back. Shawn picks a name out of the hat, and then another name for a different hat, and then a stipulation for the third. There's your match logic. No, that's not what happens in WWE. That may happen in other companies, PPW, but it's not what happens here. Because if El Assassino were booked by Shawn Michaels, he'd be in a world championship match months in. Yes, but nobody watches WWE Speed, so it doesn't matter. Thank you, Bobby Stats. I do appreciate that, but a year in advance, my ass. Jordynne Grace versus Lola Vice. Actually, what you got?
I feel like it wasn't bad. I really liked the chemistry they had too on this one. So I was like, and again, this was one of those that having Jordynne here, you can't not have her be a part of this somehow. So she had to have won the match somehow. Yeah, I felt like they did really well together though. Just predictable in the end with Jordynne winning as well. But like I said earlier, it was like I do like the fact that every finish was different in this match with Zaria. We get the distraction with Jaida and Thea, we get the tapping, and with Jordynne, we get a regular finish to the match in itself. So it's like I like how they each had that type of story here. It's like, and I would prefer having Jordynne in a title match than Lola anytime. So I'm very happy, please.
Cue Mike the ref, justice for Lola. No, I thought this was great. I thought Jordynne Grace was the perfect base for Lola Vice, especially coming out of Worlds Collide. I thought it was great that they. This was a fantastic way of storytelling for Lola Vice, letting her do all those MMA submissions to break down different parts of Jordynne's body. It was at one point, Vic was on the call and he goes, Jordynne Grace gets up and she's holding her leg, her stomach, and her arm. And I'm like, yeah, that's because she kept having the different submissions. Like, so
sounds funny.
She grabs her leg and then she grabs her stomach and then she grabs her arm because Lola's working all of these different. And like, that's a great way to do it because as somebody who was, a strength and power wrestler, that's the exact way that you would attack her if you're Lola Vice. So it made a lot of sense. That stretch muffler suplex thingy that Jordynne Grace did, mwah, chef's kiss. I love that. And is this a new name or is this just, them changing the name? into the name of Jordynne's submission. What is it? Battle Gear or some. They gave a name to her fucking finish tonight, and I couldn't remember for the life. And they kept saying it. But they kept saying it on the broadcast.
And like Will said, it's a new theme.
Yes, a soul for a soul, indeed. You know what though? I'll gladly lose Jordynne Grace's theme to have back the real Asuka theme any day of the week, because Asuka's theme is a bop.
I know, but I'm still gonna miss Jordynne's though.
Holla! You know what? If you miss Jordynne's theme, just go ahead and listen to Scott Steiner's theme. They're the same.
No.
They're essentially the same.
I don't care for him though. Nah.
We had a Noam Dar video package so that people remember who the fuck Noam Dar actually is. That was
and then
nice.
he's champion.
It was a good video package. I really like this. I just wish it wouldn't have come after 2 months later after having seen him last. Okay. Then came out Blake Monroe for her segment. I liked the use of Bobby Roode's little spin platform for her. I thought that was kind of cute. I'm not a big fan of the.
Though I don't like it because it's so awkward the way she does it at times. Because it's like if she were to like be seductive before she does it, it's like right away. And I'm like, don't do that. It feels weird. I don't like when she does it.
And for somebody who was a model before being a wrestler, it just like I don't know why, because she didn't see, as an outsider looking in, she didn't seem this awkward in AEW. So what's the difference between this and there? You know what I'm saying? Like like I said, I'm an outsider. I didn't watch a ton of these segments, but every time I did watch, I never saw her feeling like she looked awkward when she did these things.
Mm-hmm.
She came out to the ring. She signs her contract. By the way, her music, great. I love it. No notes.
I want to listen to it again though.
It's not bad. I didn't hear it and go, "Oh God, this is awful." This is what I thought I was going to do, because
It didn't say the glamour or anything like that beforehand.
it did. It does right at the beginning. The glamour never fades is the opening thing to this. Yeah. No, Astrid. It does. It says the glamour never fades right before the music starts. Oh yeah.
Predictable.
It's Def Rebel. What are you gonna do?
I know.
It's fucking Def Rebel. For the love of God, WWE, you paid Tool $1 to do fucking the other theme. Can you pay $20 to CFO to let them come back? Like, for the love of God, pay CFO and bring them back, because CFO $ themes. Terrible Toxic comes out. They try to run down Blake. Blake gives a one-liner back. They start to fight. And then Blake Monroe goes through a table. That is indeed one way to book your newest star.
Mm-hmm.
No, Bobby, that statement is so bad, I'm not even going to put it on the screen, which means Ash will put it on in 3, 2, 1. Oh, she didn't. I figured she would take that opportunity to put it up there. I mean, this is fine, but I don't know why we're booking JC Jane against the Glamour, Blake Monroe, while we're trying to book a big match for Evolution. Like, unless Blake is in the Evolution match, this is a mistake.
And it's like, once she came out and I realized that was the last segment, I was like, JC has to come out for this because we haven't seen her during the whole show. So obviously that happens. Second, I freaking hate it when the girls wear dresses knowing that they're going to go through a table or something along those lines.
I will give Blake credit. She kept her legs together.
I know.
The entire way up and down.
But if you know you're going to have some kind of physical thing like that, then don't wear especially something that short, because you know you have to keep your legs like that tight the whole time just because you have to protect yourself and the company on top of it. just don't do it. Just save yourself the work. But it
As
all
long as
seems like
WWE doesn't send Blake Monroe to Seth Rollins for fashion advice, we're fine.
no, disagree. Um, I like the spotlight on her up until the table part. It's like if it's a new girl, I understand her signing the contract. I understand JC interrupting her because that's what she did to JC last week. But I would have done without the table part because I feel like I would have done with them maybe like having some sort of face off, something along those lines. But I would have avoided the table spot because I to introduce her this way and to like have her look weak at the end the way she did after this whole presentation from beginning to end until leading up to this. You make her look like a weak character at the end because I understand there's obviously two people against one, but at the same time, you make her look this whole way in this whole presentation from beginning to end of the show, and it just basically dies with a table spot. It's what it looked like to me. And it's just like that part I would have done without. I feel like I would have had a good back and forth because Mariah's somebody that's very confident on the mic. So I feel like she could have had a good back and forth with JC here to begin with and threaten her somehow. It's like, okay, look at what you have in your shoulder. Your days are counted because I'm here. Some sort of thing along those lines. Threaten her because we don't know where we're gonna get this yet. So it's like you could have given her that moment of like, I'm here, so I'm a new threat to your championship. And I would have left it at that. Have have her feel threatened in some sort of way. Or maybe even have Blake show off and do one of her moves to maybe like Fallon and then JC runs away because that's what JC does. Or do it to Jasmine and then have JC run away of like, oh my God, Niko, look at what she did. She could do that to me. But don't put her in a table spot like this and make her look like nothing after the way you presented her through the whole show. It just didn't fit for me.
And I love the presentation of Blake Monroe. I love the name. I love the like. I know people are like, oh, it's kind of a shitty name. It doesn't do the MM. I understand that, and I get it. But I like if she wants the Blake, which is seemingly that was her choice. She wanted Blake. Monroe makes a lot of sense. Mariah Monroe would have made more sense than anything in the world. Let's be honest. And I think that's probably where WWE was going to go with it. I think they were going to go with Mariah Monroe, which again makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of things. You brought up last week, you were talking a lot about the Sabrina Carpenter of it all, because there are a lot of similarities to Sabrina Carpenter. I want to bring in another inspiration from a generation before me, because again, I am a Zillennial, so Gen X and Gen Z are my people. It also feels very Bewitched. Especially that lower graphic that they constantly have for her feels very Bewitched. I really get a good feel. I really like that. Yeah, Will's right. She's a WWE fan. She knew it was coming. Welcome to WWE Kid. I don't have much problems with the segment. You know how I know WWE doesn't have a ton of faith in JC carrying the segment? After putting her through the table, they cut to Vic telling us what's going to happen next week, which was Stax versus Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup, Briggs versus Trick for the TNA Championship, Izzi, Lash, Jordynne, and Jaida in the Fatal 4-Way. The winner of that match gets the shot at JC at Evolution. And then they come back to JC Jane, cutting that I'm going to run this division forever, you're not. Promo. I don't know. I don't know if we needed to rush Stephanie to the main roster. I don't know that we needed her to be in Money in the Bank. I don't know that we couldn't have done a slightly longer reign with Stephanie to get to Blake. Or we could have done Jordynne Grace in the middle. Jordynne Grace wins at Battleground, I think it was. And then I think so. Stephanie goes up to the main roster, does all her main roster stuff, and then Blake comes in, and Blake can wait 2 or 3, months, and then take the title off of Jordynne. Also, I thought during the show that while she was going to go for JC, I thought we were going to have the way to get away from that for, a month or two by having her take on Sol Ruca, because she eyed Sol Ruca in that women's North American Championship when she walked by Sol and Zaria earlier in the show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've been saying it. I don't know if I've been saying it in NXT for almost 5 years. Is the flex I think it is, Jason. Oh, JC Jane being in NXT. Yeah, there's a reason why I call it terrible toxic. There's a reason why I refuse to call it fatal influence. That was NXT. The wrestling on this show was great, but there were a lot of awkward things about the rest of the show that made this a kind of missable show. On top of it, Blake Monroe felt like an afterthought because she came out, she didn't cut a promo, she just signed the contract, and then we had...
Well, she did have like a mini promo.
Oh, did she? I was bouncing around back and forth, so I may have missed it. I listened to her song.
I didn't take notes on everything, but I just know she said something along the lines of like, this is like the best women's division. I'm glad to be here to be able to like go to bed with all those people kind of thing, because that's what she always says in her promos. Not always, but like that's how she always hints at things. And then she like winked when she said that. And it wasn't really too long after before Fatal Influence came out. So she didn't get to say much. But I feel like that's one of the things like I would have let her say more, because Mariah's one of those people like she's very strong on the mic. And I definitely would have let her say a little bit more and show that side of it more there. And even like I said, it's like have her do a finisher move on one of the girls and have her show off like that before anything else happening. But her promo even wasn't too long either.
I think she could have hit her finish on Jasmine and then get put through the table by the other two. I think that would have been an interesting way to do it, because at least then it's 50-50. This made her feel a little less than. And the whole presentation kind of, like, it was such a good presentation heading into the ending. It kind of felt a little off. Sol Ruca versus Tatum Paxley for the North American Championship? Yeah, probably. That seems to be what we'll get. We'll probably get that at Great American Bash. That seems like where we're headed.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not her, it's probably Izzi.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the two. It's either Tatum or Izzi. It's one of the two. That's for damn sure. Yeah, you've been a righteous pain in the ass all night, but you are awesome as well, Bobby. And speaking of Bobby being a pain in my ass and being awesome, I do have a little something to show off and announce since he's in the chat. Coming soon, the War Room. What is the War Room? You're going to have to wait and see. I will tell you that it'll be a recorded show. I don't know if Bobby wants me to spill all the beans on what it is just yet. But I will tell you that the War Room is coming. So be on the lookout for episodes of the War Room dropping on our local establishment's YouTube channel in the near future. Me and Bobby are very excited for this. This is going to be a lot of fun for the two of us. What was I saying? It's not something in my favor, as you can see by my face there. Yeah, Bobby has agreed to be a bit of a whipping boy for this one, so it'll be fun to see. Screw it, I'll just say it. It's me versus Bobby in WWE 2K GM mode. I've decided to do a GM mode thing, and I'm going to do it with Bobby. We're going to call it the War Room. It's going to be a bunch of fun. I've played the hell out of all of the GM modes in the last three games. Munson has played none of them. He's never seen the GM mode, so I am so dead. We're going to see how PPW's own Bobby Munson does, having all that indie booking, seeing how that correlates to a WWE show. High level noob right here. Yes. It's going to be a bunch of fun. I'm very excited for it. You can, of course, find all of my stuff here on Twitter and Blue Skies at EdFries12584, Twitch and twitch.tv/EdFries2002 for simulcasts of all things Marvel Talk. Marvel Talk schedule has had another change because Disney has fucked with us again. Me and Andre will be back for Marvel Talk on June 24th for the first 3 episodes of Ironheart. We have the names of these episodes, and they are as follows. They are going to be Take Me Home, With a Real Natalie, Please Stand Up, We in Danger Girl, Bad Magic, Karma's a Glitch, and Into the Past. The past is the past. I'm sorry. The first 3 of those episodes will air on June 24th. So that means we'll have our review on June 25th. And then we'll be back 1 week later for the other 3, because we were hoping for 3 one-week episodes, and they gave us 3 more full episodes. So happy Canada Day to everybody. You get to spend it with our local establishment. Those sound like Core Kid songs. I learned what a Core Kid was a couple weeks ago from Javier Bernal. That was fun. It made Astrid laugh. Speaking of Astrid, you can see all the other things I say that make Astrid laugh here.
No, you can't. I forgot I need to add TikTok in there too. Putting more clips on TikTok. Yay! You can find me on Twitter, Blue Skies, Astrid Pizarro, in the Instagram and Threads as Pizarro20. But yeah, TikTok is Astrid Pizarro20, I believe, if I'm not mistaken too. But there you go.
Yeah, and we've got all kinds of fun stuff. Like we said, we've got Mel and Astrid setting up for Evolution, hopefully with some special guests. That would be fun. There's just a lot of good things going on in the Our Local Establishment world with Strong Style Fashion, with Noah Unleashed, Point of View, the Mother Talking Post Show, us, Ring Respect Radio, I believe, is doing a trip to the territories this week, Bobby? Is it a trip to the territories? Do I have to defend my crown this week? Like, what am I doing here? I've not been notified. Oh, wait, no. I am not the champion anymore. I forgot. I have to tell you my Twitch crown. I forgot. I was... We have things to talk about with the on-air crown. It is a PPW preview. Okay. Hopefully, El Asesino will be in the main event of this show. He probably won't be, because the booking committee over there at PPW doesn't like my man El Asesino, who is the greatest luchador of all time, not Dominic Mysterio. And of course, you can find us right here, Our Local Establishment, every week. In Our Local Establishment, you can be found at Ole Podcasts on all forms of social media, on YouTube and Twitch at Our Local Establishment. Please make sure if you're watching this on YouTube that you like, subscribe, give us a comment. Tell us what you thought of this episode if you're watching on replay. Make sure you go over to Ash Bizarro's channel at Astrid Bizarro on YouTube to go ahead and like and subscribe over there too. She's just over 300 subscribers over there. She's looking for more. So hopefully you guys can continue doing that. Hopefully there'll be an Astrid Ask coming at some point soon. That would be fun too. No? Maybe not. El Asesino has been on my show too much already. Crickets. All right. Well, for myself, for Ash Bizarro, thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
I am in misery.